Okay, great. Good morning. Good morning. This is going to be a quick video about adulting and working in restaurants. So, if you aren't clear now, I work in a restaurant. I work in two restaurants. One of them is considered fine dining, so they're trying to get a Michelin star or 5 Michelin stars, I believe. Michelin stars are basically how America evaluates the quality of service, so it's about creating a really good experience, and the menu is really expensive. So the restaurant I work at, like, we've got a Wagyu tomahawk steak on the menu for $350. So we also have like multiple bottles of wine that sell for like $30,000 a bottle, and two sommeliers on staff. Like, there's a cab here that costs $13,000. That's for one bottle. Anyway, so the point is, when you're working at a restaurant that is very expensive, you get tips. So there's like typically some tip pooling system that happens within the restaurant. And so you, as an employee, are going to make tips. You're going to make more tips depending on which position that you're doing. So I'm just going to talk about the front of house positions, because I'm guessing if you're following my channel and you speak English and you're American, there's no reason you should be working in the back of house. The back of house is typically for people who are like English language learners, people who they can't actually talk to other people who are dining in the restaurant because they don't understand the culture. So like, if you don't speak the language, or if you like just are not very social yet, you don't understand things about how to like interact with other people, you're socially awkward, things like that, maybe the back of house is for you. But if you're like young, you're attractive, they're going to put you in the front of the house. Typically, the first thing you do, you might start as either a host or a runner. A host is the person who like greets the guests as they come in. So I'm working at a restaurant in Walnut Creek right now where I'm a host. So all that happens is, as people come in, I check them in using Open Table, and I seat them. So I walk them to their seat, and sometimes I get them water, and I might answer typical, and I bring them the menu. Another part of the training, though, wherever you work, you're gonna have to like learn the items on the menu. So at Sauced, I'm still in training right now, but they're taking me through the menu. So I've gone through every single item on the menu. I got to taste every single item on the menu, so that I can make recommendations to people when they call over the phone and try to make a reservation. Sorry. And then there is a runner. So a runner is the person who goes from the kitchen. So there's the kitchen who actually makes the food, right? That's like the chef and stuff. You're not doing any of that, but you take the plate after this. So there's a server who actually is the person who's talking to the guest and like taking down the order and answering any questions about the menu. And the host, all you do is you run from the kitchen, you take the ticket, and it says, go to table number 15. You take the plate to table 15, you set it down at the appropriate seat number, because let's say there's like there's 5 tables in the restaurant. Every table has a number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And around that table, there's 4 seats. Those seats are numbered too, like 1, 2, 3, 4. So understanding basically tables and seats is a thing for like hosts and runners. Then we have the next position up, which is like a server. So servers are, like I said, the ones who are taking the orders. They have to know quite a lot about the menu. Usually people start as a host or a runner, and then they work up to a server. That's like the next gradual step. Now, servers live off of tips. It's like the better your customer service is, the more if you're working at like pretty much anywhere that's a tier above like McDonald's or Taco Bell, you're gonna get tips. So if you work at like California Pizza Kitchen, or like I work at Sauced, I would encourage you to work anywhere with a bar, because places with a bar, people are coming to like drink, and when they drink, they're going to spend more money on food. So if the menu basically has items that are in the $20 to $40 price range, you're going to make a decent amount of tips as a server. So like at the restaurant, both restaurants which I work, one of them on like a Saturday or a Sunday, the servers are making between $800 and $1,000 in tips that one day. At the second restaurant I work at, I asked today, and I was like, what's the average amount of tips that you make in a day? And they basically said, well, typically like $800 is about the amount that I make in tips in one day. So if you actually balance that out over a month, like let's actually see what that comes down to. But when I talked to one of the women who's a server, she's saying she makes about $10,000 a month at this like fine dining restaurant as a server. That's really good. The other woman I talked to at the restaurant that's like a little bit lower tier, she was making like $7,000 a month. Either way, that's more than enough money to cover your cost of living. I only need $5,000 a month to cover all of my cost of living. I think it's very important for you and for everyone else to do like a breakdown of like how much it actually costs for you to live. If you're living in a major city, I would budget about like $2,500 for rent, about $500 for food, $200 for your cell phone, about $200 for your utilities, maybe like $150 for your transportation ticket. So I don't know about how, I think that all comes about like $4,000, something like that, but then you have like $1,000 to play with for the month. Like $5,000 is more than enough money to live for one person. We're not talking about any dependents, because like, yeah, I feel like you might need like $12,000 if you had a baby or something, so that's a different story. The point here is like, I don't know why I'm not seeing more of you guys like working in restaurants. Like if you are a pretty black girl and you're like me, what the hell are you doing, girl? Go get your tips. And I just want to tell you kind of how to start. On the website, they have a menu. What you want to do is just go look at the fucking menu and like read the items out loud. Royal Miyagi oysters. Do you know what that is? Go look up a picture on Instagram. This is an oyster. A bluefin tuna tartare. Go look at what that is. Look at the descriptions that people are writing on Instagram. That's why we have people who Instagram their food. They're foodies because food is like a part of a lifestyle, right? Like, because what matters? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's what actually matters, right? If you have a job, you have to work your job for 8 hours a day, and then you get to decide, I'm going to have breakfast. Like this morning, every morning actually at this hotel, there's like a complimentary buffet breakfast. And then I have to decide what I'm going to have for lunch. And then I have to decide what I'm going to have for dinner. Because like these are things that happen every single day. Hopefully like you ladies are like, or if there are any women who are following my channel, or any young people or men who are following my channel, are like on your calendar, are you actually writing down what you're having for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Like what I do is I just create a blank breakfast, lunch, and dinner calendar invite, and then every day I update it and I just write exactly what I had that day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? And then actually working at the restaurant, typically they will give you a meal, a comped meal, or a amount of money you can spend toward the meal every shift. Yeah, maybe we'll do another bartender specific, like how to get started with the menu. But this is like a how to get started working in restaurants. And I'm actually going to edit this one because I want you guys to see some stuff. Cool.